she should have just been like, okay, listen, girl, I'm just letting you know that our friendship is over from here. Like, that's keeping it real. That's being honest.
Welcome back to my channel. It's JusMeLah, and I am here to review The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 17, Episode 14. To me, in my opinion, their friendship fell apart because Porsha did not protect the friendship. Protection of the friendship looks like when people come to you and say things, you automatically dismiss it and you handle it off camera. You call your girl and you be like,
so this is what so-and-so said. Can you tell me what really happened?
Especially as someone who is a seasoned veteran, she's praised for being a veteran, for being strategic, being calculated, being composed, being in control of herself and her emotions. With us understanding she has that skill, I think we also have to question why she chose to handle her relationship the way she did. In the moments where women came to Porsha and relayed messages to her about how Shamea feels, Porsha chose in those moments to be the victim, leaving Shamea to be the bad guy. Shamea, we see her time and time again defending Porsha, advocating for Porsha, being Porsha's right-hand man. And Shamea clearly says the conversations around Porsha and I's relationship and the dynamic of it and whether it is balanced has always been something that the women have brought up. And in those conversations, I've said, yes, these things have happened, but we are fine or we are good. Whereas when it's brought to Porsha, she doesn't, give him the blank stare and make it clear, like, you're not going to get anything from me around this. Like, Shamea is my best friend. Me and her are good. I love her down. I think at that Pampered by Porsha event, like, Shamea was, like, thrown. When they do have that meeting where they sit down to talk, like, Shamea really is bothered and upset. Like, girl, what's going on? And the idea that she shouldn't have this conversation on camera when that Pampered by Porsha event just happened on camera, they're like back and forth. Like, they was having an argument in front of the group. And so I just feel like y'all just had an argument in front of the group, but now you guys can't have resolve one-on-one on camera. Like, that argument happened on camera. I didn't feel like it was out of bounds to then have a follow-up conversation that was public. Also, the nitpicking that the women were doing, it was based off of the things that they were seeing happen. Like, they weren't coming to Porsha and saying, like, girl, I think your friendship is lopsided with Shamea. Like, she's really not as supportive of you. And what's that about? And that wasn't what they were saying. They were talking about Porsha, how she showed up in the relationship with Shamea, and that they felt that she didn't seem like such a good friend to Shamea. But notice how either through Porsha's masterful gameplay or just how she naturally is, it became Shamea that was the bad friend. That's how the story ended up unfolding. When in actuality, the only reason why they were talking about their friendship is because the ladies felt like Porsha wasn't showing up as a good friend to Shamea. I just think that's clear as day. I've heard people say, like, it was super out of left field for Shamea to bring to the table what she brought to the table. And I didn't feel like that, honestly. Like, I was shocked by what she said. Like, jaw dropped. Like, some people are saying she should have said that at the reunion. I don't feel like it was out of left field for Shamea to do. I feel like it was the natural progression of that storyline. I had no idea that there was some sort of like nastiness, because honestly it did feel a little like nasty for Miss Diane to say you need to be careful of the dog with the bone. After that happened, we hear Shamea talk about like the history of her and Porsha's relationship in the confessional. And we also see when she sits down with Cynthia. It's important to note that this conversation that Shamea has with Cynthia happens after the Pampered by Porsha event. And Cynthia calls this sit down with Shamea because she's like, girl, what is going on? Like, y'all were just going at it at this Pampered by Porsha event. Y'all are best friends. Like, what is happening? But she's basically letting her know, like, the tension, the rift, the like stuff that we got going on it's not just about us. It's influenced by what's happening with our parents. And the influence is specifically about the negative things that Miss Diane is saying to Porsha, that Porsha has told Shamea. She's told her, my mom has said the apple doesn't fall far from the tree and I need to watch out for you. And Shamea's like, why would you tell me that stuff? It makes it hard to be your friend when you're telling me all of this negative stuff that your mother is saying about me. And Porsha's like, well, it's what she said. And so Shamea is wrestling with all of these things, and she's letting Cynthia know. She doesn't give Cynthia these details. All she says is, it's bigger than me and her. It has to deal with our family. In the confessionals now, Shamea elaborates on the history of the relationship, how she and Porsha met, the relationship between Porsha's mother and Shamea's mother, where she says they were tight like glue, and my mother and Miss Diane were best friends, or at least that's what my mother thought. And they asked more information, like why did their relationship end? And Shamea's like, no, I'm not talking about that. It's another breadcrumb that like, oh, okay, so Porsha's mother did something to Shamea's mother. Then Porsha takes to her social media and says, not too much of my mother, because your mother did something egregious to my mother. We've seen it escalate. Miss Diane said, be careful of the dog with the bone. Shamea said her mother thought they were best friends. And then Porsha said, your mother did something egregious to my mother. Then we get to the reunion, and Porsha reveals that your mother stole my mother's daycare when my mother went into foreclosure. Okay, that was another escalation. And then Andy asks, well, what happened with the mothers? And Shamea doesn't escalate it further by dropping what she dropped during episode 14 in season 17. She stops the escalation. But I think all of that is important to say that when she does finally reveal it in season 17, I understand. Like, things have been said, and so now we're getting a fuller picture. Like, oh, so this is what happened. Also in that episode, Shamea is like, you didn't want me to be a part of this platform. You said that I have all of these things going for myself, and that me joining would be the demise of our friendship. I just think it's interesting what Porsha said happened, and it's like, did it happen because it was inevitable, or did it happen because you designed it that way? Like, your friend coming on the show means the friendship is over. I just feel like you either knew the friendship wasn't strong enough, or you knew that you couldn't be a friend sharing this main character position. And if the friendship wasn't strong enough, it should have been fortified if they cared about it prior to them filming. But it wasn't. And we learn in, I believe it's season 16, where Porsha says, and I believe it's in a confessional, that, once they started filming, their communication really was poor. So the communication was there before you guys started filming, and once you started filming, the communication fell off. So this is why these things happen, because y'all's relationship wasn't strong. But also, I think it's good on Shamea that she did join the show, in spite of Porsha telling her she didn't want her to, because I feel like if a friend tells you that they don't want you to join, then that's really not your friend. If the fact that she even said that to me shows that she really wasn't your friend, and good for you for joining anyway. Because I don't think a friend would say that. Yeah, I just know from personal experience, anytime a friend has wanted to enter into a space that I was already in, it was always like, okay, cool. And even when I've been entering spaces that friends have been in already, it's been like, okay, cool, watch out for this. It's like you give them the 411 so they can be successful. This is in response to people saying, she said she didn't want you to do it, but you did it anyway. Yeah. Because Porsha does not run her life. She should deny herself an opportunity that would elevate her career, would elevate her influence, because her friend doesn't want her to do it. That makes no sense. And for the people who are like, yeah, it's like, what? Yeah, I don't get it. When I've been in professional settings with my friends, it's fun. And we make other friends, and then we're still friends too. And it just becomes like a big fun salad. It's just fun. And yeah, I think it's odd that someone would be like, don't do it. This is my thing. How is it? What you mean this is your thing? Well, this is a thing and you're doing it, and I also have the opportunity to do it. And Shamea was obviously wanted in this space because she was given the job. She applied and was hired. So like, I just think that's odd.
I do want to say that I understand wanting to have something for yourself. The experience feels familiar, although I can't pinpoint it, but the feeling of this is my thing that I'm doing, and I do have my friends, and I love my friends, but this is something that I don't want to share with anyone. I do understand that sentiment. In this scenario, though, I challenge that because this is a space that Porsha has shared with Shamea. Shamea has been a friend of for many years. And so this is a space that you've willingly brought her into. And the idea that she would be getting more time to reveal her personal story, and that being the thing that makes you want to say, no, this is mine, just feels weird to me. Because you've already opened the door, you've already invited her into this space.
And Shamea during that dinner also said that, you know, people called me and told me, your stylist, your makeup team, your glam team, whomever, and said that you said once I joined the show, it's up from there. Like, we're not friends no more, we're co-workers. And I'm just like, okay. At first I was like, wait, so how long did you know that she said that? And you still was trying to be her friend, or still pretending to be her friend? And then I look back at season 16 and I'm like, oh, once things started to unravel, people started, this is what I'm thinking happened based off of what was shared, is that once things started to unravel on the show between Shamea and Porsha, people started reaching out to Shamea to like give her tea. Like, so just so you know, this is what she was saying. Like, so this thing happening is like by design, because she was very clear that y'all are co-workers now and not friends. And that makes sense, because if you look back at the way she handled the situation with the other ladies and her relationship with Shamea, it was like she didn't handle it with care. And I just think it's whack for Shamea, because she didn't know the game that was being played on her by her friend, who wasn't her friend like anymore, or really to begin with, it seems. I just hope Shamea learns from this and grows from this. And I hope she makes amends with the ladies in the group that she needs to make amends with, because she was Porsha's sidekick and mean girling with her. But Porsha also has the finesse that Shamea doesn't have. So she was able to bounce back from her misgivings with the women. Porsha's also very likable. Like, she's a fun girl. Like, it's, you know, she's bubbly and like it's easy to like her. And so I can see how she was forgiven, and she also was accountable and apologized. And Shamea with Angela specifically kind of was like, okay, but I just laughed. All right, I'm sorry. It was like, that's not an apology. So I understand why Angela didn't see it for Shamea. I think Angela made herself look whack though, like going so far with it. It was like, okay, at some point y'all could have gotten over this. They could have squashed it. Like when they got to Scotland, she clearly just like, she jumped ship and to me ruined her reputation. You did too much. And now I can't unsee it. It's like when you like experience somebody drunk, and it's like maybe in one of your first encounters with them, and then when you see them thereafter, it's like all you see is that drunk person. That's how I feel about Angela. I can't unsee the Scotland woman. Even when she's like in her confessionals now, I'm just like, all I see is Scotland. So I think that's whack for her. Once Porsha knew that her friendship with Shamea was over, once she decided that if you enter this space, it's done, she should have just had that conversation with Shamea. She should have just been like, okay, listen, girl, I'm just letting you know that our friendship is over from here. Like, that's keeping it real. That's being honest. Porsha wasn't honest with Shamea about the friendship, and Shamea didn't have the wisdom or the guts or the confidence or whatever to like sever herself from the relationship. But that's it. Those are my thoughts on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 14. Let me know what you thought of the episode. What do you think about Shamea and Porsha's relationship? Who's responsible for the fall of their relationship? Porsha ruined it on purpose. Peace.